believe that the creative industry is really a driver, especially for us, the Philippines and the Filipinos. Importante ang creative industry for us because this is really where we excel. And I really believe that we must send our aces already out there. When we travel and we have creative events abroad, we get a lot of good reviews. We've used a lot of our creative talents, especially those that are on top, to really drive at least trade for us. No? But we really feel that the creative industry is a driver of trade and tourism.
It seems that there's a great traction of what you started not a few years ago with the promotion of creative industry. So, how do you assess with a very positive reaction of people in this opening?
Okay, so start off in 2022, the Philippine Creative Industry Development Act was enacted. Since then, we've seen a lot of support from the industry. Ever since, the creative industry are just there, that they are not unified. They are just all over the place. Because of the law, they were put together by the 9 domains. And since then, in 2022, we were part of that. And that we've seen a growth in support and everybody is coming out suddenly. And since this Malikhaing Pinoy Expo is a manifestation of such overwhelming support from the industry. So remember that last year, 7.3% of the GDP is given by the value of the creative industry. About 7 million plus are in the creative industry, and we look forward to having them more and more in the coming years. This expo is our way to showcase the archipelagic Filipino creativity.
You mentioned about good figures, but what about the figures in terms of budget going to the creative industry?
Well, I must say that for the past 3 years, we're able to get a rallied support. But then we are just saddened for a little bit when we learned that there are only few of that millions next year. But because of Kong Javi Benitez and the Special Committee on Creative Industry and the rest of the senators like former Senator Coco Pimentel, Senator Amy Marcos and the rest are really rallying behind us. And I think we will be able to see an augmentation. So I hope that whoever is listening right now, who wanted to really use creative industry as an economic development tool, we can work with DTI, with my tool.
Of the 9 domains, which one is a priority that you think will make what Secretary was telling us is Asia superstar? Saan malakas?
Yeah, so far the data will show us that we have so much value in terms of game, animation, film, fashion, furniture, and creative goods. But then we're working with Department of Tourism for creative tourism. We're working with different agencies. So there is no such thing as really a priority by DTI because we are a member of a council. We chair the council and that every department are given idea to what to prioritize. So all the 9 domains are still prioritized. It's just that the most pronounced are the audiovisual, digital, and the design.
I know that this is just the beginning, but what are the specific outputs that you are expecting out of this?
Okay, so we are moving towards our Asia's premier creative hub by the year 2030. We're actually working with the ASEAN Secretariat because of our chairmanship next year. So we're pushing for being ASEAN's Center for Creative Industry. So that is very tangible. If we get that designation on the ASEAN Center for Creative Industry, and then I could actually say that we already in that, and then the pedestal within the ASEAN. But clearly, we really wanted to have more economic value contribution. We wanted to really see more employment generated. While creativity can be likened to an expression of oneself, we wanted it to be sustainable. That's why we work with the artists, design, artisans, filmmakers, and all to become entrepreneurial, to look at the business side of their creativity so that they continue to work and grow. And we want it to be better, bigger, and brighter for the coming years.
There is one front, which is the domestic front, and that is basically you are consolidating all the efforts from the different domains. What about international? Do you have specific projects in the creative industries where you will really focus on the international stage.
While we focus on domestic consumption and production in the Philippines, we have worked with the Department of Foreign Affairs, and all the posts are aware of our Malikhaing Pinoy program. We work also with our own posts. We have the Philippine Trade and Investment Centers around the world that are also selling and putting forth that Malikhaing Pinoy is world-class and dynamic. And so we have a lot of projects. We have sent animators to Annecy Film Festival in France. We have sent game developers in Canada. We have sent our filmmakers and directors to Vancouver, in New York, in US, and France. And we have the Center for International Trade and Exposition Mission. They're also working abroad. And we have Design Center of the Philippines. So DTI alone has a very good mechanism within its ecosystem to really bring the best of the best. We call them the seizing the market opportunity approach, where we allow our products, once it is already world-class ang level, we can actually bring them to. And so we facilitate that. We work with the creative industry associations. A while back, you have fashion accessories makers of the Philippines, for example. We've been sending them to Tokyo, assisting them. The one that mentioned by the Secretary, Honorable Chris, was mentioning that we brought our models and artisans and fashion designers to Tokyo. This is a manifestation that DTI is always visible, not just domestically, but internationally.
And, speaking of budgets, di ba? Although you mentioned that there's going to be a lot of augmentation, pero in your case, if there is a wish list, parang what budget are you looking at to really promote?
We used to have 400 million plus last year, and we are able to help 62 local government units to be creative cities. But we are not able to do it this year because we lost a budget. So we're looking at 400 to 500 million. I think that is just small with the rest of the budgets that you've been hearing. But we look forward for augmentation. If it's not given by the Congress or the other government agencies or the Senate or the House of Representatives, we'll still do our best. But we hope we get augmentation. But we still have the private sectors, creative industry associations that are also helping us other than that, because we cannot stop. The momentum is already here. We cannot afford to rest. Well, the Department of Trade and Industry, with all its instrumentalities and attached agencies, have been very helpful to generic MSMEs. We're not tagging creative. But then we found out that majority of our MSMEs are also into creative. So we call them creative MSMEs. So first thing is financial support. You have small business corporation. In terms of trade fair, we actually allow them to participate for free. All of the exhibitors here are for free because we don't want to burden them. The only thing that they have to do is to create goods and creative services. And so bahala kami sa mga venue. And what we also do is that when we're able to ensure that their capacity building, we have the Philippine Trade Training Center, PTTC. So we train them to become more entrepreneurial. And so all of these things are happening all at once.
Should there be MSMEs who would want to promote their creative products, where will they go? What's the process of going?
So definitely, we are found in all of the negosyo centers around the country. They can visit the provincial office of DTI or the regional provincial office of the DTI. Every DTI office in this country are welcoming all MSMEs regardless of whether you're creative or supporting creative MSMEs. And so we welcome everybody to come visit DTI. If not, you can visit the Facebook of DTI. It's DTI Philippines. And if you could connect with us, we're happy to bring you options of where you can actually land in terms of support.
I was talking to the Director. You are one of the few politicians who are really supporting adding more budget to creative industries. Why are you doing this?
The Filipinos are creative by nature, and we have already seen multi-awarded globally. Ang talento ng Pinoy napakagaling po, and nakita po natin yan, alam po natin yan, and putting budget and where our priority is. When we put investments sa creative industries, sobrang laki na exponential benefit para sa ating bansa. So, bihira po yung may mga industries tayo na globally recognized na po. So, ito, recognized na po tayo, bigyan natin ng tamang suporta. And as I mentioned earlier, yung budget po nakapasa na ng amendment to the National Internal Revenue Code to add 5% ng digital services sa VAT for exclusively for creative industries. So yung sinabi ko po kanina, fully realize po yan sa 2027. So babantayin po natin yan. We wanted to go to the creative industries as mentioned in the law. Dahil alam po natin pag na-support ang Filipino creatives, globally ang laki po ng exponential benefit, even economic benefit para sa atin.
Do you have specific favorites on these creative domains? Which one do you think would really highlight the creativity of the Filipino?
Well, 73 ang ating creative industries and 9 cluster domains. I do want to share that as much as we want to support everything, limited po ang ating resources. And I don't want to favor one over the other. Everything is valuable dahil meron po tayong mga stars in every industry. Ang gusto ko lang sabihin is we are looking at those who are active, those who are showing good track record, and those who can be united in their efforts by producing mga domestic talents that is recognized not only domestically but globally.
Design is actually one of the 9 creative domains of the creative industries. And being part of the Malikhaing Pinoy, the creative industries, there's a close tie between creativity and design. Creativity feeds design, and in the same way, design feeds into the creative nature of the Filipinos. Our participation in the Malikhaing Pinoy Expo, we want to showcase the excellence of our Filipino designers and Filipino creatives, and at the same time, showcase how their skills, their creative skills and talents can be translated into business opportunities and livelihood opportunities. For example po, we have this piñatro blanket.
Okay.
It is made of piñapel yarn. Piñapel is actually a material that Design Center, in collaboration with private sector manufacturers, to create pineapple fiber out of the discarded leaves of the pineapple plant. And then we manipulated the material and converted them into different product applications. So we use piñapel for this blanket, and at the same time, we use the piñapel pulp and paper on that chair po.
It also gives a lot of opportunities for people in different sectors or in the grassroots level kasi that's where you source the materials, hindi ba? So parang it's like giving them markets for their produce?
Yes, we actually provide another value to discarded materials or raw materials. That's one aspect of design where we can see the creative nature of the Filipino people. We also partner with other DTI offices to provide market access. So the objects or the products that we make, we use design in helping micro, small, and medium enterprises, and then assist them with design services so that they can showcase their products into trade fairs that are organized by the DTI po.
I noticed that there are very special selections here. Who are the somehow most famous designers so far that you have showcased here at the entrance of Malikhaing Pinoy?
The selection naman po of the design showcase is to collectively put together the best representation of Philippine design. So aside from Kenneth Cobonpue, we also have pieces from Bea Valdez. We also have pieces from Industria Edition, and then we also have pieces by Neil Felipe, Touch of Craft, MCCA, and Vulcan Resources, as well as Tony Gonzalez.
Ano ba, Miss Carla, yung masasabi natin na design identity ng Pilipino?
In terms of how it looks like, dahil po marami tayong influences from outside, we really can't pinpoint at this moment a specific aesthetic for it.
In short, we're research.
Pero I just want to also emphasize that Design Center is crafting a national design policy. And then we grounded that po on Filipino values such as malikhain, madiskarte, mabusisi, may puso, kapwa, malasakit, mahusay. It is very innate in the Filipino people, yung creativity, yung pagiging malikhain po. And then, As we can see naman po in this expo, there are different manifestations or embodiment of creativity, and one of it nga is design. And with the national design policy, we also want to emphasize that aside from pagiging malikhain, our body of work is also driven by other characteristics such as nga po yung pagiging madiskarte, which is very evident in the way Filipinos manage to create something in the face of scarcity. We have our national design policy grounded on these values.
The focus on fashion earlier was very amazing. As a matter of fact, it was the center or the centerpiece of the Malikhaing Pinoy. And I saw some of your pieces. How do you feel that there is a government spotlight on your industry, which is fashion?
Well, to be honest, it's a very warming experience. Kasi for the longest time, we're on the sideline, no? But the Philippine fashion is a very huge, industry that caters to more, like, yung mga hindi mo mamamalayan na, like for example, sa creation pa lang ng jobs, no? Kami nagre-represent ng most of the 7 million, no? Kasi nabanggit kanina na the creative industry generated like 7 million employment, no? So, siguro most of the is coming from our sector. Okay? So, yung impact na yun is very personal din. Kasi galing kami dun eh. Kami yung nasa likod ng mga pieces.
We cannot help but compare, di ba? The fashion here and, the fashion all over the world. Kasi, di ba, that's the reason why we look at various international brands. Somehow, unti-unti, you are slowly seeing the identity of the Filipino fashion. But if I ask you, Vin, ano ba yung Pinoy na design? Meron bang ganon? Is there such a thing as Filipino design or Filipino style?
This has been a conversation for quite some time na, for ilang years na already. Dito sa amin sa mga contemporaries ko, we're trying to build the Filipino look, no? Which is, of course, very cultural, no? May cultural reference, no? But technically, anything na gawa ng Filipino, it's already Pinoy, no? Hindi naman siya kailangan visually na literal na kailangan Filipino. As long as na dumaan yan sa kamay ng Pinoy, it's already Pinoy, no? Hindi siya kailangan meron talagang image na kunyari tailored, gano'n. Na pag sinabi mong tailored Western, but Japan also does that, right? Pero sa amin now, sa contemporaries ko nga, sabi ko, nakitang-kita yung elements ng pagiging Filipino. Like for example, this look, right? I've been using the technique of hand embroidery. It's away from the usual patterns ng barong. And then for example, itong bag ko na to, I've incorporated another hand embroidery technique with another artist, a Filipino artist, and then develop this bag. So, hindi kailangan like literal, pero merong elements. So, we're trying to build on that note na this is the new Filipino look. Na hindi kailangan barot saya, hindi kailangan lang ganon. So, we've grown, no? We've matured to that idea. Plus the fact that yun nga, I'm part of the Philippine Fashion Coalition as well. And then merong program now is the Fashion Philippines in Milan. We are sending like 12 designers to Milan this coming Fashion Week. Yun nga yung magko-close ng gap din eh ng interpretation ng Filipino look on a global perspective or on a global stage. So, merong mga activities together with the government na yun nga nakaka-engage sa aming mga young designers na to really push forward and then really go global.
Designers or fashion designers also have their own sources of inspiration. In your case, di ba, parang some, they attend events like this, they travel, they go to Milan, to Paris, they're exposed to a lot of cultures and environments. In your case, di ba?
Ako personally, from the streets, like literal, kalsada. When I go out, when I go to Quiapo, when I go to Intramuros, when I meet people, yan. So, that's my personal source of inspiration. Katulad ng mga ganitong conversation, it sparks an interest. Yung emotion na yon, I get inspiration from that.
What's your vision as well? Like, do you also have plans of going international? Because I think that's the dream also of a lot of artists, being fashion designers or any artist, they want to go global and conquer the international stage.
Of course, that's the goal. Pero the first thing is dapat appreciated ka muna here sa atin. Okay? Kasi yun yung strength na yun yung strength na babaunin mo eh. going out. Okay, so you have to really establish first here and then go out. When you are appreciated here, bala siya or parang ano mo siya, armor mo din siya, protection mo din siya. So, yun muna yung step before going global.
How easy it is or hard to penetrate the domestic market muna? Are you given, here ba in the Philippines, are you given a lot of opportunities? Are you given funding? Are there a lot of clients? How easy or hard is it?
To be honest, KKB to. Yes, that's the hard truth. Everything is on you, no? Lahat ng investments mo, lahat ng relationships mo, etc. Lahat 'yun you have to build it. Yeah. Personally, like yung approach mo personal. Until umabot ka sa time na pwede ka na mag-expand or mag-scale up. Pero yung mga first steps, yung hard, medyo parang ang lamya pa na term 'yun, pero unimaginable yung hardship. I really cannot explain how hard it is, no? Pero yun nga lang kasi ang thing na magsaset sa'yo apart would be, of course, your consistency, your DNA as a designer, no? And then yung kung ano mga pinapatunayan mo, storytelling mo, etc., mo branding, etc. So, it's about that Yung talagang yung heart mo towards what you do. Yun yung magsaset apart for you.
If there is a wish list that you have in mind, that maybe the government or the private sector can provide, what is it?
Parang ang dami. Parang madaming wish list. Pero yeah, and then I've talked to one of our colleagues here. So next year, there will be an ASEAN thing. So hopefully, it will spark another movement. Kasi dito sa amin, dito locally, meron ng mga trade fairs na nagpo-promote ng local crafts. We have Artefino, Katutubo Maarte Fair, mga ganyan. So, nakakapag-engage yun ng market. Pero in terms of the government, yung continuous pa din na support, like this, yung mga ganito, yung mga exposures natin. Pero kung meron talagang specific na wish list, dalihin nyo kami abroad. Kasi government to government kasi yun So, bring us there, we'll make things happen. Promise, Filipino tayo
Just to give you a bit broader scope, I look after Southeast Asia. So in Southeast Asia, you talk about 3D animation. We will look at Thailand. But we talk about 2D animation, this is the place. Philippines has a lot of 2D animators. And we talk about a pool of talents, ample pool of talents, Philippines and Thai. These are the two main countries in Southeast Asia that has the biggest ready pool of talents to make a modern animation. Now it encompasses 2D animation as well as 3D animation. It makes the animation movie more realistic. In my opinion, if I want to make a movie, animation movie, I'll have to bring in the Thai and of course the Philippine. And then we have to put them together, and that's where you can make a better quality animation movie. To me, Southeast Asia is like a little European Union. If we can put all the talents from every country, like Vietnam, they are very good in gaming development. And we can put all these artists into one single place to do one single job for one single movie. I think we have plenty of talents. Our movie can win the Oscar.
The Animation Council of the Philippines is actually the composition of an association with our members, member studios, and member vendors. We comprise of 2D, 3D. We're known for 2D for the past 40 years. Unknown for the rest of the world is that we've been doing animation for the past 40 years, specifically for production. But for marketing, distribution, licensing, this is what our clients have been doing for the past. The global pie is 413 billion as of 2024. We only comprise 60 billion USD, and it's a small fraction. The value chain in our case, just like in garments, the cost of the products being sold or the services being sold, since it starts with the operations, it's kind of low, just like in the manufacturing. But as you move up with licensing, with distribution, throughout all the partners all around the world. So let's just say I'm servicing for Thailand, Indonesia, or let's just say even US, and the cost for the product becomes higher because it's already distributed. The same thing with goods. Okay, it's somewhat like that. Okay, so it would be best that the slight, and this is what we're doing right now with the council. We're moving from just going for service and incorporating a drive to fully go for original content. And this is a seeding thing because we want to be part of an international ecosystem of content. And that's why we have vendor partners to help us build the infrastructure. And we also have the animation studios that has been servicing most of the global content that we have here. We have Toy Animation here, we have Toon City, we have Top Draw Animation, and a multitude of smaller studios that also do subcontracting work. It's our bread and butter. However, with original content, and I want to cite Sun Chaser, which won the Animation Dumont in MIFA. Okay, it's the marketplace for animation. They were able to get the highest award that's there, which means the world's eyes are on us. So, Sun Chaser might be a way of bringing the eyes of the global audience to the original content, and we could earn more. Because in the value chain, we're not just creating certain parts of the whole thing. Okay, imagine a cell phone, you're just making components. It's more of, we are masters of production for the past 40 years. We've been doing production. There's pre-production, there's post-production, and that's normally what our clients would do. Okay, so if our clients are Disney will ask us to do the 2D or the 3D animation, and we'd be doing that for them. Okay, so the value chain is very limited. So
But if we do original content, new IP, that is the market that we haven't
Yes.
developed yet.
Correct. Because if we have the original content, it would sustain all the processes that we have, starting from pre-production, story development, pre-production, production,
Philippine
then
had the
post,
experience.
and then marketing,
Yeah.
licensing, and distribution.
Pero may market po kaya tayo nun? Sino ang market natin sa ganon? Meaning, are we going to somehow create content that appeal to whom?
An international audience. Okay, why? Because they haven't heard our stories. They haven't heard Filipino stories. All we hear are Asian, Japanese, okay, and then hanggang ganun lang. Okay, but in terms of the novelty, so I would suggest, okay, mas maganda we patronize our own products. Okay, I remember the talk yesterday by Chair Joey Reyes of FDCP, because we don't really love, okay, what we are as Filipinos, and we don't love our products and services. Ngayon, dapat mahalin natin. So the best ways to do it is to propagate and then consume Filipino content.
So sa inyo po ba, para matuloy ang mga proyektong ito, what exactly do you need? A specific project, budget, funding? What if you have a wish list, for them to support your organization or the industry, what exactly do you need?
There are two areas. One is already being acknowledged and then recognized right now by DepEd, CHED, and TESDA. Okay, and that is training and development, talent development. So we're working on that right now. But the longer scheme is to take a look at grants. For example, FDCP and NCCA, they have grants, right? However, it might not be suitable enough, okay, to cover what we need, because the cost that we have is very much different, and the type of production that we have is very much different. So I would say that what would happen is actually an original content development fund. Okay, we're hoping that PCEDA would allow us in our domain to have funds for that. We have already our partners that could help us enable the work. It's the matter of funding so that we could sustain our talent and then come out with the different areas of production. Not only production, but also distribution as well.
A lot of Filipinos or a lot of viewers or a lot of film producers, sabi nila, when you do a film, dapat your end vision and goal is to put it on streaming platforms. So, may market ba?
Yes sir, may market po. Because kasi sinabi po ni sir, yung creativity ng Filipino, hindi pa natin nailalabas, especially yung mga local na mga stories natin, yung mga original content po natin. Because of Netflix, nare-release po natin kung ano yung gano'ng ka-rich yung culture ng Filipino, kung paano natin malalabas yung mga different stories natin, yung mga, isa na po ngayon doon yung 13 na from comic books na naging animation siya. So, marami pa po ngayon, like yung mga gawa ni Derek Abel-Longorin, yung Saving Sally, yung iba pang mga Philippine original content. So, because of that, na ilalabas at na showcase po natin yung mga works ng mga local Filipino artists, local Filipino storytellers. At makikita po sa ibang bansa na okay, we have original content, hindi ganun ka-influence with other international na mga stories. And it's a good thing na mapakita natin kung gaano ka-rich yung talent at yung culture ng Filipino.
So actually available na yung gadgets natin for our artists. So andito na siya lahat, kompleto na. So even the software available and the hardware. For the government, we wanted this kind of event. So at least mga students natin and professors and professionals can see what we're offering.
Are books still relevant or what you produced was an ebook?
Doesn't matter if it's traditional or digital as long as yung content is maganda. What is important is yung laman ng mismong book.
Yun. So parang we go back to the same old saying na content is king. Your work is one of the most recognizable. When they see your sculpture, alam po nilang Ramon Orlina. Ano po ba yung sikreto naman po ng pagiging Ramon Orlina?
Well, kailangan ng matyaga. I've been doing this for DTI, no? For maybe 18 or 20 years. Every year,
The focus now of the government is really creative industries. Do you think the Philippines is ready? That artists like you and all, even the new generation like animation is now given that spotlight to showcase.
Yes. Of course, everybody has to be given the opportunity. When sa akin, relate nga kasi alam mo naman, hindi na ako mahilig sa press release or whatever. Pero hindi ako nabibigyan ng support. Ngayon, naggaganto, magandang report nangyayari sa akin. So ito, hindi lang para sa akin, para sa mga bata.
How do you feel that your talent and your creativity is recognized, especially in this event?
First, talaga, I'm very grateful and really thankful kasi it really proves na tayo mga Filipino ay talagang malikhain. We are on top of our league. We're very creative and we're very progressive. At ako'y tuwang-tuwa na ako ang nag-direct ng ating show today and really looking forward sa marami pang shows or collaboration that I will do for the Department of Trade and Industry.
Ang sinabi din kanina, Direk, ay hindi lang dito sa Pilipinas, but the DTI together with the other agencies are really promoting the Philippines in the international stage. So, sa iyo po ba, paano po ba kakaiba ang talento at creativity ng mga Pilipino pagdating sa international stage? Talagang lumalaban po ba yung mga designs natin?
Ito po ang aking masasabi every time na kami po ay gumagawa ng show sa ibang bansa and then ang audience ay tumayo na at nagbigay na ng standing ovation. Doon mo sasabihin, proud akong maging Pilipino.
And are they doing that?
They're doing that po. And yun po yung nakakataba ng puso. Hindi ma-explain yung feeling that we're showcasing the best of the Filipino talent. Especially me, I represent the Philippine fashion industry. Last time we had the show in Tokyo and we featured the collection of Paul Cabral for Fashion Aid Philippines as well, and of course the Department of the Trade and Industry of the Philippines. So talaga namang nakakataba ng puso kapag narinig mo na yung palakpak ng tao at they really appreciate yung talent natin bilang mga Pilipino. Actually lahat talaga, pagdating sa design, nakita nyo naman ang ating furnitures, ang ating fashion ay world class. Sa visual arts, nakita naman nyo ang mga gawa ni Ramon Orlina at mga iba pa nating artists ay talaga namang tinatangkilik sa anumang parte ng mundo. Performing arts, global Filipino talent tayo pagdating sa pagkanta at pagtatanghal. And now gaming, we are really doing so well in that aspect also of creativity. So lahat talaga.
Somehow, the MSMEs or regular Filipinos, regular fashion designers, siyempre gusto nila higher income, higher opportunities. Since you are representing also an association, are you feeling it somehow?
Ang laki na ng market natin mga Filipino. Dati, dito tayo, we have our own market here in the Philippines. Pero ngayon, the world is our oyster. So kumbaga ang market natin, kahit saan man ng mundo, lalo na sa tulong ng ating Department of Trade and Industry na talaga naman nagpupursige na tulungan ng mga Filipino talents or Filipino creatives natin. And I know that more programs will be implemented para talaga matulungan ng lahat ng creatives katulad natin.
Mga Kanet 25, this is Cesar Vallejos of Open for Business. For more updates, just click the subscribe button and follow us on Net25 social media pages at Net25 TV and at Net25 Entertainment Facebook pages.